What happens when a fun trip into the heart of nature turns into a nightmare soaked in blood, betrayal, and giant mutated crocodiles? Welcome to Movie Reviews YT. We're diving deep into one of the most underrated psychological thrillers, The Bayou, 2025. A film that will make you question the limits of survival, the chaos of the mind, and the dangers lurking in the darkest corners of nature. A flight crash, a group of mismatched survivors, and a swamp that's anything but ordinary. Get ready for a full breakdown of this blood-pumping creature feature. From shocking twists to intense kills, I've got it all covered. So grab your gear and don't forget to stay out of the water. Let's get into it. At the beginning of the movie, we are shown a swampy area in the American state of Louisiana. Due to being home to some of the world's largest swamps, it's a place where no one usually goes. Taking advantage of this, some drug smugglers start using the area for smuggling. However, one day, a sudden police raid leads to a deadly shootout, and many from both sides are killed. The remaining smugglers, in an attempt to save the chemicals, dump a large quantity into a nearby river. But perhaps they didn't realize just how dangerous those chemicals could be for the thousands of alligators living in that river. Within just a few days, the alligators began to grow unusually large due to consuming those chemicals. Their hunger also increased so drastically that they started eating their own kind. The scene then shifts to a girl named Kelly, who is attending her biology class, though her mind is clearly elsewhere. Her professor notices this but says nothing. After class, Kelly meets her friend Alice, who has planned a trip for her so she can scatter her brother's ashes in a peaceful place. Her brother had recently passed away, and she was very close to him, which is why she had been feeling lost and distant lately. Alice had planned the trip to help Kelly refresh her mind and heal. What really happened to Kelly's brother is something we'll find out later in the film. For now, Kelly agrees to go on the trip. However, joining them are Sam and a girl named Malika, whom Kelly absolutely cannot stand, mainly because she is extremely selfish. Kelly asks Alice to bring her car instead, but Alice tells her that she had to recently sell it due to financial reasons. Left with no choice, Kelly agrees to go along with the group, though she's in a bad mood the whole time. Alice tries to explain to her that she needs to move on from the incident, but obviously losing a brother isn't something one can easily forget. Later, the group checks into a hotel, but even there, Kelly stays quiet and aloof. She steps outside and starts watching old videos of her brother, where he's seen riding a bike, hinting that he was passionate about biking. The next morning, Malika wakes everyone up early, excited for an adventurous outing. On their way, they stop at a gas station, where Kelly notices posters of those mutated alligators, with the headline mentioning the Bayou, the same area where that river flows. The water in that area was now contaminated with the dangerous chemicals. Something Kelly notices on the warning posters. While she's looking closely, an old man sitting at the fuel station warns her, saying, "The place you're heading to isn't safe. Just stay away from the water." But Kelly doesn't take his warnings seriously and continues with the trip. Soon after, the group arrives at a small airport. Malika had already booked a flight to take them further. Even though she knew Kelly had a fear of heights, Malika didn't care. As expected, Malika only cared about her own comfort, while others were secondary. At the airport, a man named Frank shows up. He's clearly drunk. Seeing his condition, everyone is hesitant about boarding the flight. However, Kelly doesn't want to be the reason the trip is ruined for her friends, so she agrees to fly. Before takeoff, they realize this isn't a private flight. A few other passengers are joining them: an elderly couple, a young couple, a businessman, and the pilot. During the flight, the businessman keeps talking on the phone nonstop. Everyone tells him to stop, as it could cause interference, but he doesn't listen. And as expected, something goes wrong. The plane's engine suddenly stops working, forcing the pilot to attempt a crash landing. They crash into a wetland in a swampy area, and since the water wasn't very deep, most of the passengers survive. However, the old man from the couple and the pilot are missing. The group tries to search for them but finds no trace. When Kelly regains consciousness, her first instinct is to search for her bag, which contains her brother's ashes. She quickly exits the plane. While the rest of the passengers hope they'll be rescued soon, Kelly explains that this was a budget flight with no radar system. No one would even know they crashed. They have no idea where they are, and they have limited food and water. Frank, who knows a bit about the area, suggests they head 40 kilometers north, hoping they might find help there. But nobody likes the idea. The trek seems too long, especially with their limited supplies. Meanwhile, we see Alice exploring the nearby woods, where she finds a large nest of crocodile eggs. She realizes that these aren't normal, and Alice knew that crocodile eggs were extremely expensive, and since she was in desperate need of money, she secretly puts almost all of them into her bag, leaving just one behind. She doesn't tell the others about it. Meanwhile, the rest of the group is by the riverbank, checking their phones and belongings, most of which were damaged due to the water. Suddenly, they spot someone drowning in the water. Frank immediately jumps in to rescue the person, and others rush in behind him. It turns out to be the missing pilot from the crash. But before Frank can get to him, a giant crocodile emerges and devours the pilot right in front of their eyes. Everyone is horrified. They now realize that this place is not safe at all. Frank scrambles out of the water in a panic. The elderly woman, whose husband is still missing, is seen grieving and emotionally broken. As night falls, the group gathers around a fire. They unanimously decide to make Kelly their leader, since she seems to be the most knowledgeable about survival. But Malika isn't pleased by this. She wanted to be the one everyone looked up to. Kelly informs everyone that the entire area is surrounded by dense jungle. They might find edible fruits, but she warns them not to touch anything unless they're sure, as many of them could be poisonous. Later that night, after everyone has gone to sleep, Robin sneaks off into the jungle to smoke, despite knowing about the crocodile danger. While smoking, a giant crocodile attacks and drags him away. In the morning, when the group finds Robin's mutilated body, they are disturbed beyond words. The way his body was torn apart, it didn't look like a regular crocodile attack. Kelly is equally shocked. That's when Frank finally reveals a horrifying truth. A few days ago, some chemical was spilled into the river, which caused mutation in crocodiles. They began growing abnormally large, developed intense hunger, and even started living on land instead of water. Hearing this, the group panics. Kelly urges everyone to increase their pace so they can find a safer place. Not long after, they spot a cottage in the distance. While still hiding in the bushes, Kelly tells Sonia to stay back quietly. Her theory was that if they didn't move together in a crowd, the crocodiles might not attack. But this assumption turns out to be completely wrong. A crocodile suddenly lunges and snatches Sonia away. It becomes clear that these mutated crocodiles are so hungry, they don't care whether the group is together or not. They're out to feed, and that's all that matters. The remaining members now have no choice but to run for their lives. Everyone starts running toward the cottage, hoping they might find help there. But just then, Joey's leg gets caught by one of the crocodiles. The others manage to pull her inside just in time, but she loses a leg in the process. Somehow, they manage to shut the cottage door behind them. Inside, they finally realize how ravenous these crocodiles are. They've become so aggressive that they've even started eating each other, which is unheard of. Exhausted and in shock, the group falls asleep. That night, Kelly has a disturbing dream. She's with her brother Jamie at a grocery store. Suddenly, armed robbers arrive and take two people hostage, one of them a little girl. Jamie, wanting to save the child, confronts the robbers, but since they had guns, they quickly turn their aim on him too. Jamie is unable to act. Nearby, Kelly sees a gun lying on the ground and tries to use it to help her brother. But tragically, she accidentally shoots Jamie, and he dies on the spot. This is when we fully understand why Kelly is unable to move on from her brother's death. She blames herself for it entirely. Back in the present, Sam shows Kelly a map he found inside the cottage. A certain location is marked on it, and they hope someone might be there to help them. They decide to head toward that spot. Just then, Malika storms in and blames Kelly for everything, for being the reason they're all stuck in this mess. But as we know, it was Malika who originally planned the trip. Still, being who she is, she refuses to take accountability. The others know her true nature by now, so no one takes her seriously. The group sets out to find the marked location on the map. After walking for a while, they come across a river they need to cross. It's not going to be easy, but they decide to build a raft together. By this point, the crocodiles have sensed their presence. Before the creatures can launch an attack, the group manages to get on the raft and push off into the water. As they float, Joey silently watches her husband, as if looking at him one last time. And then she jumps into the river. Her injuries had left her severely weakened, and she didn't want to be a burden to the group any longer. To save them, she sacrifices herself. Her husband breaks down, devastated, watching her die before his eyes. But the others hold him back and help him cope with the grief. With great difficulty, the group continues their journey on the raft, hoping to reach the marked location. They finally reach the place marked on the map. It's a cottage. As they move forward, they come across bullet shells scattered on the ground. Seeing this, Frank suggests that this must be a smuggler's hideout, the same place we saw at the beginning of the movie. All the chaos had started from here. Inside, they split into two groups to search for help or supplies, but all they can see are bloodstains on the walls, a clear sign that something went horribly wrong here. On the other side, Frank suddenly starts acting aggressively toward Malika. He tells her that she's the most selfish and self-centered person he's ever met, someone who would go to any lengths for her own comfort and happiness. He pushes her, and now Malika is hanging from a ledge, begging Frank to save her. Meanwhile, Kelly's group finds an injured man who weakly warns them to leave immediately, saying something's not right here. Just then, Kelly hears Malika screaming, and they rush to help her. Frank is watching Malika hanging helplessly, clearly enjoying her suffering. But just then, a massive crocodile appears and devours Frank in a single bite. Horrified, Malika is frozen with fear. Kelly and the others arrive just in time and rescue Malika. Shaken and remorseful, Malika apologizes to Kelly for her past behavior. She admits she was only ever jealous of Kelly, but still, Kelly had saved her life. Kelly forgives her. Now the group needs to escape, no matter what. They start moving cautiously toward the control room. Most of them make it through, but Sam accidentally steps on a crocodile's tail, and in an instant, half of his body is in the crocodile's mouth. This crocodile isn't ordinary. Meanwhile, Kelly manages to connect with some rescuers who are on their way to save them. At the same time, Alice realizes that the crocodile might have come looking for its stolen egg, the one she had taken. Hoping to appease it, she tries to return the egg with her own hands, but the crocodile ends up biting off half her hand along with the egg. Seeing this, Kelly unloads her entire gun at the crocodile, but it doesn't seem to have much effect. In fact, it only enrages the beast further, and it starts attacking them again. With her ammo depleted, Kelly finds a knife nearby and stabs it in the eye, blinding it. With the creature weakened, the group pours all the petrol around it and sets it on fire. The massive crocodile is burned alive, and just like that, Kelly saves everyone's lives. In the final scene, we see Kelly scattering her brother's ashes at a beautiful, peaceful location. And with that, the story ends. From murky swamps to monstrous crocs, from broken friendships to ultimate survival. The Bayou wasn't just a trip, it was a test of everything human. If this wild breakdown gave you chills, or made you reconsider your next adventure, let me know in the comments. What would you do if you were trapped in the Bayou? Fight, flight, or feed the crocodile, your least favorite friend? And hey, if you're into thrilling stories, wild twists, and jaw-dropping endings, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more deep dives into films that bend your brain. New videos drop every week, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. This is Movie Reviews YT, where movies get real. Because here, the stories never stop, and the danger's just one play button away. Until next time, stay brave, stay curious, and for the love of survival, stay away from the water.